are live.
What's going on, everybody? Hey, welcome to Evening Rants, a beautiful day before Christmas Eve. Christmas Eve. Christmas falls on a Wednesday this year, which means that people are taking the whole friggin' week off, man. I tried sending some emails today, and all I got was out-of-office replies, and I wasn't mad at seeing that. I'll tell you what. It was nice. I got to catch up a little bit. How was your day, Alan?
We did a lot of driving today, but it was good. I saw my family already and checked into the Airbnb. We're good to go, man. I'm very, very excited. Had fun on the drive with some internet exchanges and stuff like that. It was lots of fun today.
Exchanges, kind of like exchanges with, I don't know, doctors who might have taken a few shots too many. I'm not even talking about the eggnog, my bro. I'm not even talking about the eggnog.
You know, and we're probably going to hop off YouTube after here in a little bit, but like what I find funny is that we're at a stage right now where the medical community and the PhD people, they're struggling so hard to try to make sure that they still are deemed as like, well, I'm a doctor and you're not, so listen. When I'm just going to be honest, if you've gotten multiple jabs and you're not 400 pounds and you're decently young, if you're saying like a doc that lifts, if you're like an in-shape doc that lifts and you somehow convince yourself that getting 4 experimental therapy boosty thingies for a cold, why should I ever, and I mean ever, respect you or think that you know what you're talking about? Like I would love for anybody to explain this to me to a great degree. Do you have an explanation for me?
I don't think we'll need to sign off. I think we have the language down pat now. So if you guys are unaware, we had a little, Alan had a little, let's say a verbal altercation with a gentleman by the name of Dr. Spencer Nadolski, who, I've actually seen his stuff. I noticed I didn't follow him. Kind of glad I didn't. But anyway, I noticed I don't follow him, but I have seen him. He's actually been on, I knew I saw him somewhere. He's been on Dave Tate's podcast, Elite FTS. So for him to bring up the steroid thing is odd, being that he's trying to make a name for himself in the Elite FTS. Now, Dave Tate is very pro steroid. Dave Tate has taken huge doses of steroids. He's a champion power lifter. He's obviously the owner of Elite FTS, an awesome guy. Love that guy to death. But for him to go on and try and court the bodybuilding, powerlifting, and fitness community who does partake in enhancements and come at me for being on enhancements, even though I'm not, and I'll get to that in a second, is astounding, because it just shows that there's really nothing to argue except I have more muscle than him. And then he asked, and then he made a comment. He said, I'd love to see your blood work. And I said, here you go. Here's my testosterone levels. And then crickets. And I'm like, oh, okay, sir. Well, your free test is high. I'm like, so that means that my body is healthy and it's helping to bound testosterone, which is a great thing. I didn't say that. I said I was very excited about the results too, which it's absolutely fascinating that someone can make these reaches. And I believe we could talk about Ozempic still. That hasn't been put on the do not talk about list. So, man, I'm not anti-Ozempic at all, but in the same way I'm not anti-gastric bypass surgery. I believe Ozempic is a last option. I believe it is the ripcord if your parachute doesn't open. I believe it should be try every single other option. But what's happened is we are giving lean people. I was actually talking to a lean woman. Actually, you guys might know her on Twitter. I'm not going to mention a name. Very, very well known right-wing pundit, we'll call her. And she went to the doctor and she's like, yeah, I'm going to try and lose some weight. He's like, do you want me to prescribe you Ozempic? Bro, she's literally of healthy weight. I mean, even by any extreme standards, she is lean, slender, might I add, sexy. Just not a woman that you would prescribe that to. But it's become a profit center for big pharma, who just showers these doctors in gifts and cars and whatever else they do. So they're just prescribing it willy-nilly. And now they're going to prescribe it to children. And I hate to take this further. I'll bring up his tweet after Alan opines in a second. And then I'm like, well, the thing is they're pushing it to be given to kids. He's like, how many kids do you know on? And I'm like, well, how many kids were supposed to be on the therapeutic we were talking about earlier that we can't mention here? And they ended up pushing it and even putting it on the childhood vaccine schedule.
Mhm.
I just can't say that vaccine because we could talk about vaccines. So it is on CDC's recommendation, childhood vaccine schedule. And it was said at the beginning, no, we're not going to push this on kids. We're absolutely not. But it's a slippery big pharma where they start smelling money and they get one population. The only way to grow once you conquer one population is to just grow into another population. And that population is children. And the obesity epidemic in children, you have 70% of adults are overweight. Children overweight is mirroring adults. So yeah, the logical step is children. So my contention, and Alan, you can opine to yourself, isn't that Ozempic is bad. It is that we are overprescribing it, and it should be a ripcord type prescription. What say you, Alan?
So the way this started, and after we pull up the tweets, people see it. Like I basically stated, like this guy was basically talking about how people say using Ozempic is cheating. Is it cheating when you use high blood pressure medication for blood pressure? Is it cheating? Hang on a second. I think I need to let my son in. Hang on.
Yeah. So essentially, I think, and to take this over, Alan jumped in and was like, dude, this is crazy. Like, also, I will argue blood pressure medication. Those are things we should be very cautious of. Beta 2, like if you look at the beta blockers, the effects they have on your quality of life, and I'll continue and just because I was kind of picking up and I'll finish my thought. So beta blockers, they will destroy your life. So my wife had to have an ablation on her heart because she has an extra heartbeat, just some extra tissue. It's a genetic thing. She had it since she was, a baby. And we used to think it was a heart murmur. It turned out not to be. So she went, her doctor's like, I don't know what the fuck this is, but your heart rate is dangerously high. It gets dangerously high when you have these episodes. So I'm gonna put you on beta blockers. So she goes to see a specialist, and the specialist is like, we need to give you the surgery where we give you the ablation because you don't want to be on beta blockers the rest of your life. It'll destroy your life. So she had a really good doctor, right? The main doctor was like, I just don't want you dying until you see the specialist. So let's go ahead and get this in there. And then the specialist is like, all right, keep taking these, but as soon as we can, we're going to zap that thing. A week later, we're good to go. Heart's right. So just being like, yeah, I will argue, no, we're not saying blood pressure medication is not good, is a good thing. Blood pressure medication should not be taken. That's something you should fix with cardio, with lifestyle, with healthy weight loss, and et cetera, and healthy food choices, and some supplements. Like, I'm sorry to ramble on, but they go on. I'm carrying this too far. I apologize. They go on about supplements not working. I have human data on citrus bergamot and its effect on HDL and LDL cholesterol. I have niacin, which raises your HDL. You have nattokinase with human data that it actually not only prevents blood clots, which people who are getting this experimental thing might be getting a lot of lately, but it also has implications for blood pressure, for HDL, LDL, and for even arterial plaque buildup. It's been shown to remove the buildup in your plaque. I also have evidence of vitamin K doing similar things with arterial plaque. And these are all RCTs. This is human data. So what say you, Alan? Sorry about that.
So here's the thing, like what he was talking about that, like if that's cheating, then this is cheating, then this is cheating. And my premise was, you sound like a drug dealer. Like you're talking about obesity. Obesity is completely lifestyle related. Anybody that argues that it's not is an idiot. As well as high blood pressure and I forget what other else it is. It's all lifestyle related, right? And we're in this model, this Rockefeller healthcare model of pharma first, because he was the father of the pharmaceutical industry. And doctors, again, just like as you pointed out, they're basically owned by the pharmaceutical industry. Like they're drug dealers. Like very realistically, most of them do not. Like it's wild that we have doctors treat obesity when they don't learn anything about lifestyle. To me, it's almost like they're not qualified, right? But my point, and of course, as soon as I went to that, he's like, "Well, you sell supplements." Like, well, yeah, we have human data on our supplements, and I personally think that No Morbidity and Alchemy outperform Ozempic, especially when you consider the side effect chain. But the back and forth between this guy just showed me, like, he doesn't care about actual data. He cares about shilling for pharmaceuticals because, again, immediately when you started talking data and science, he asked you if you're on steroids, which is the weakest shit ever, like, for people. Like, it's like the disqualification of, like, because we're bigger, stronger, or whatever than people, like, we can't actually have an opinion, which is wild. So he kept talking about data, and he kept talking about, he was basically trying to stick up for Ozempic. And I said, well, after 4 years, and this is Ozempic's own study, right? After 4 years, they're showing 10% weight loss. 4 years, 10% weight loss. So for $60,000 in those 4 years, billed to insurance, as he pointed out, it's only $25 per person if they have insurance. Well, that money is not magical. It doesn't just disappear, right? But also,
we are paying for it.
Yeah, we're paying for it. So say a 200-pound woman gets prescribed Ozempic, and then 4 years later, she's lost 20 pounds. She's still morbidly obese. She's still got all sorts of chronic illnesses. Frankly, she likely has more. She's probably on a nausea medication, because I can almost guarantee you that most doctors prescribe a nausea medication the very second they prescribe Ozempic. It's all for pharma. It's why not go towards lifestyle intervention first? It is being set up, and as you pointed, they are looking at kids for Ozempic too. Him stating, well, how many kids do you know that are on it? That's not the point. The point is that they are prescribing it to children. That's like saying how many kids do I know that are on OxyContin? I don't know any, but they shouldn't be prescribing OxyContin to children. Like it's wild. Like, and how basically he said, I showed him the study on the 10%, and he was like, well, that was not a study based around weight loss. It was based around this. I was like, so the weight loss data collected is no good? Like, the title of the study, all of a sudden, is that what makes the data good or not? They don't actually care about data. And then it turns out that Doc had gotten the original 2 gene therapies and 2 boosters. If you were able to, I understand why some laymen's and basically people that are, like, completely insane and just part of a cult, I understand why you guys got a bunch of boosters, because, again, you're in a cult. But for somebody that claims that they look at data, you did not get data for this. Like, there's no, like, you know where the 5-year data for safety is going to come from? Next year. Next year.
Yeah, it's from the he said they're running a large population study. Yes, you are the population study, and they cut out the control group. And
Right.
And again, like, I would like to state for the record that they are safe and effective for everybody. And that whatever the CDC and WHO says is the correct answer. They are never wrong. And did you hear about Trump? Trump's about to get rid of it.
Sudden adult death syndrome is a completely, like, separate issue that we never had.
And did you hear, by the way, I disagree with this completely. Trump is getting rid of the WHO like his first day in office. He's ending our ties with that, defunding them.
I can't believe it. My favorite people at WHO.
Completely disagree with that, Trump. You lost me on that one.
Totally
lost me on that one. Like, yeah. So I'll bring up the tweet, man. And again, I was pulled into this because, well, it's our company, right? I own this bitch, so it's like, so he put, this guy sells worth. So basically, Alan said nothing really. He's like, it sounds like you're a drug dealer based on what he said, because he said, and so he said, this guy sells worthless supplements. Surprise, surprise. And then he pulls up our ad, which, by the way, we are 10 times more cost effective than GLP-1 drugs. We didn't say anything about results. We just said that. And we listed out, we have data on there. And I said, well, let's have a debate, unless you're scared of us. And then, I didn't see Jose. He said, I do think the individual sells worthless up is a trite straw man. Kind of surprised you use that as an argument. I'm sure to agree that protein, creatine, sports drinks, beta-alanine, nitrite, sodium, bicarbonate, etc. aren't worthless. Some supplements are worthless, e.g. Tongkat Ali. Others are quite effective. Others effective under very specific circumstances. And Jose and I actually debated, because that's what gentlemen do, testosterone boosters. And we actually both agreed that there are applications for it. His argument is that it does increase testosterone, just not enough to care about. My argument is more environmental. If I'm at, if I'm at 500, right, and let's say Insurgent, we have human data to show it increased testosterone about 20% on average. You have your outliers in the middle and on the bottom end, right, and also on top. You also have a guy on top, a guy on bottom who are either extreme responders or extreme non-responders that you tossed out because that's how studies are done. So, and I'm like, well, if you're at 500, right, and you raise it 100, that brings you to 600. That's still better. And I think over time, that's quantifiably better. And he's like, well, it might be. So his thing is it's not steroid-like, and I couldn't agree more. I've taken testosterone boosters naturally, and I've been on steroids. And I will tell you, testosterone boosters are not steroids, but it will help you get in a better environment conducive to muscle growth and bigger and better libido. I would say a 20% increase in testosterone, if it has a direct correlation to libido, which is not quite direct. It's more indirect. It's correlated, but not quite direct. But yeah, I mean, you got to look at anecdata as well, which is people tend to report they get hornier taking that stuff. And I take that into account. Like, so Insurgent, when I first sent it, this is my anecdata. So I sent it to Chad, and I told him it was a fat burner. Yeah. And that's how I did it. So I'm like, take it in the morning, take 2 in the morning. You're good to go. Right. 2 in the morning. I forgot what it was. I thought whatever the dosing was, because the caps were different dosing, because it was just the beta. And he's like, I don't know what that fat burner is. It's going to sell like crazy because I'm horny as fuck, man. I just want to have sex with my wife all the time. Now, for someone who's been married a long time to suddenly take a fat burner and get horny, that's when you know you're onto something, right? So I'm like, okay. So that was my anecdata where I'm like, oh, wait, that's pretty cool. But of course, there's human data to back that up. Now going into like the science, right? Going into the debate, this got off, this completely got off the rails. I haven't even read these comments, but essentially it was going back and forth. And then I don't know where it is, but somewhere down the line, he accuses me of being on steroids. I post my blood work. He's quiet about it. I asked him how many shots he's had. He said he wouldn't answer it. And then I kept bringing it up. He said, well, I had 2 initial. I think he kind of was. I had the 2 first ones, and I had like about 2. He didn't even have. He wouldn't even tell us the real answer. So how many boosters he had, and I'm like, oh, okay. So you're talking about data and studies, and this has nothing. He's like, no, it actually had clinical RCTs. No, it didn't. And the safety data, I brought this up, no reply to it. So you're telling me 6 mice is adequate safety data for experimental therapy? Crickets on that. Essentially, it just turned into a name-calling fest. I did not intend for it to be that way. But, and I did get out of hand where I think I called a couple people out, and a couple people follow me like, yeah, you don't need to do that. And they're right. I got to stop chirping at people with 300 followers. It's really a weakness of mine. But it was Sunday night. I had nothing else going on.
And sometimes cultivating the trolls is just about engagement too. I'm just going to say that.
Yeah, I don't think people understand engagement. Now I don't have the following like Joe Rogan where I could post and ghost, right?
Yeah.
To get my shit going. But I mean, it did get a lot of traction. Like this was a great. Let me find my actual like where I hit him up. But I mean, it was a cool little debate.
By the way,
right?
By the way, Doc, if you're watching, I know you put it off to like January 16th, but you're more than welcome to come on and be embarrassed anytime you want. Try to defend you. Like it's wild. Like he called us at one point in time snake oil salesman. Dude is literally pimping Gila monster venom. Like he's calling us snake oil salesman. He's pimping Gila monster venom. Not to mention that, but you're calling supplements with patented ingredients worthless. Just so you know, there, Doc, that's actually actionable by the fucking companies that make the patented ingredients. Like. The reason why they can be patented ingredients is because there's human study done on them that can verify the results. That's why they can be patented and make the claim. So to say that they're worthless, the data and study on it shows different. So people can claim that supplements are worthless all they want. I will argue that supplements is how medicine was for thousands of years, because it's almost all based on Ayurvedic medicine, food, nutrition, those sorts of things. Different phytonutrients and stuff like that from food. But in reality, what you have to look at is that like this guy is a pharma drug dealer. That's it. I mean, like he's a pharma drug dealer. Of course, he's not going to like supplements, especially supplements that I have, I mean, people can say what they want. First of all, one more time, all patented ingredients in our supplements because that's how Mark rolls, and that's one of the reasons why we got into business with them. Secondly, tens of thousands of people have been helped by it, literally tens of thousands. If my other argument is because he wants to compare ours to his, he's like, "Well, you guys don't have studies." Yeah, but I can use your study of 10% after 4 years. That is so incredibly weak. That's $60,000 to lose 10% of your body mass for most morbidly obese people. That leaves them still morbidly obese, still with tons of chronic illness, just $60,000 poorer, and likely with other side effects. He then, of course, had to be like, okay, well, what about trizepatide? Because that's 20% after 3 years. That is still weak ass sauce, just so everybody understands.
For the money, yeah.
If you are a 250-pound female, you'll now weigh 200 pounds after 3 years and $45,000.
Yeah.
That is less than like a third of a pound a week. That's less than a third of a pound a week.
You know what I found it really fascinating. I'm like, well, what if he literally said they will be on this drug indefinitely. So he's advocating for long-term use, of which we do not have data. So people got to understand the data we have in diabetics, we're at a different dose, right? Like the dose is the devil, I believe is what they say. So if I'm taking 1/10 of the dose for diabetes, for glucose control, that's one thing. But if I'm taking so much that's making me so nauseous that I don't want to eat, then that's a problem. So a lot of people, and I don't know the exact stat, you might have this, but I believe there's a high discontinuation use because people get too sick to deal with life. And I mean, people literally can't eat. Do you know that?
I think it's like 40%. It's like 25 or 40%. The numbers are skewing to me.
And those who do stay on it just hate being fat and will do whatever it takes aside from eating right and exercising to lose weight. They'd rather just be nauseous all day. But Dr. Ovadia was the first one we had on this podcast. I Fix Hearts. He's a great guy. And so we know, so we talk about doctors and listen to doctors. Cool. What about Dr. Ovadia? What about Dr. Sean Baker? What about these doctors who are, Dr. Sean Baker is anti-Ozempic. He does not like Ozempic at all. And he's the one who pointed us to the initial data on hyperplasia of fat cells. So what happens with Ozempic, what can happen is as you lose weight, you're causing hyperplasia of the fat cells, which means a division of cells. So you're creating new fat cells. So when you come off of Ozempic and you put weight back on, your ability to gain even more weight is greater because you have more muscle cells. Just like if I have hyperplasia of the muscle, that is adding more muscle cells, not just growing the cells I have. So when my muscle does grow, its ability to get larger will be much greater because I have more muscle cells. So if that is true, and again, we don't know that, it's still being studied, but the data looks to be that. Also, we have a very scary rodent model where you're showing atrophy of the heart or atrophy of the heart muscle, which means that the heart muscle is getting small and weak through Ozempic. Plus, you have a lot of issues with people being malnourished because they just can't eat. And I know this.
The rodent study should be good for any doctor that took boosters that were based off 6 mice. That study should be totally valid to them.
And for those doctors, I believe this study used 7 mice. Oh,
that's pretty. They went all out with that extra mouse.
We were hater proof on this one. So I know I'm nerding out today. By the way, I'm blind. I was watching TV and there was a guy texting and it was like big on my big screen TV. And I'm like, man, who the hell can read that? My wife's like, everybody. Oh shit, I need to wear my glasses. So you're gonna be seeing Nerd Mark from now on. Nerd Mark is in. It's like Clark Kent, baby. So, and I'm not wearing contacts. Yeah, the glass, the contact thing creeps me out. I ain't putting shit in my eye.
Yeah,
nah, I'd rather just wear glasses.
I want everybody to understand, like, whatever you guys need to do to lose weight, do it. We shouldn't have to pay for it. Like if every fat person in America gets put on Ozempic, it's like $3 trillion a year in extra burden. That's unacceptable, especially when it's free to not fucking eat as much. It's literally saves you money, But I understand where they're coming from because their bread and butter is about to be lost. Like it's almost like you can see them sweating because the pharmaceutical industry, like, is probably going to take a big hit in the next couple of years, right? For good
Mhm.
reason. But the people that do really well on Ozempic and Wegovy do it with lifestyle change too, right? And that's what our supplements are meant to do. Like, our supplements are not meant to be on forever. Our supplements are meant to minimize your hunger, help avoid sugar and carb cravings, make it so the carbohydrates that you do have go into your cells well.
Yep.
Dehydrated blood brain helps your cells absorb nutrients like crazy. And it's wild to me that people don't see how we set this up for you to have minimal hunger, get better lifestyle habits, wean yourself off, be a happy, healthy person. They're literally talking about you needing to stay on a Gila monster venom forever for $1,500 a month. It's just
It's wild.
it's
It's so wacky,
these are the same people that, like, literally were like, COVID's going to kill everybody. Take these very effective shots
which I agree work very
that we
well.
tested on 8 mice. and,
6.
six. And I just find that to be like absolutely like the medical profession has lost all credibility, completely all credibility. I just I don't see how they're going to win it back, especially when they keep going pharma first. Like, for those of you doctors, PhDs, anything like that, when you go pharma first, you show yourself to be ignorant. Like you literally show yourself to be ignorant. Nowhere in that man's post did he mention any lifestyle change. That's what got me to call him a drug dealer. He didn't mention any lifestyle change. He just mentioned the drugs that were needed, right?
Oh God.
And to me, that is malpractice almost to state those things without coming up with a non-pharmaceutical intervention first, right? And that's not where the healthcare industry is at right now. They've gotten everybody used to getting shots nonstop, boosted nonstop, all this nonstop, and that's just where we're at. And we're going to need an entire changing of how we think about health in order for this to happen, or for it to get better. You know?
I didn't expect it from this guy. I really was, because I mean, he's been in our space, right? Like, for
Mm-hmm.
him to roid shame somebody is astounding, being that I was sitting at Elite FTS. And if you've seen the power lifters, it's like West Side, dude.
Yeah.
Like
It's 'cause he knows
those
it's
are
a mess.
guys who, if you're not pissing blood, you're not trying.
Yeah.
Like,
It's
it's
'cause he
astounding
knows
how
he
he'd go
lost.
to the roid shaming thing, and then I proved him wrong. That's crazy. I mean, I'm just, I mean, I'm at the point now where it's just frustrating as someone participating in discourse and debate, and pretty good at it, very well
Yeah.
researched, very well studied. When, what am I, a fucking piece of meat? Like, I can't say the sky is blue without somebody mentioning steroids and shit. It's just astounding. I don't understand it. I think I'm going to change my profile picture. I don't, maybe just my face. I don't know. It's just, but then I have to give up my blue check for like a week while they fucking do that stupid thing. And that's why I haven't done it. But it's just frustrating because I am an IFBB pro. I'm proud to be an IFBB pro. One of the reasons I'm proud to be an IFBB pro is because I did it without abusing steroids.
Right.
Like, that's one of the reasons I'm proud of it. But to have that thrown in my face, like, yeah, it's a compliment. I know we say it's a compliment, but imagine if everything you do, every time you bring up a valid point, every time you bring up a valid point, or you bring up something, or you're in a debate that someone says some shit that's just annoying and untrue, it's just, it gets to the point where it's not a compliment anymore. It's just fucking annoying. Now, I'm not like insulted by it, but it just gets really fucking annoying. It's like, hey, you know what? You destroyed.
It's a way to dismiss you. It's a way to try to dismiss you.
But of all things, like, it's like, and if one, 3 different people today, for no reason, I didn't even say anything, came in and just talked about my penis. I did not post the bulge pic. I promised myself I wouldn't.
Did you post the bulge pic?
I did not post the bulge pic. I refused to do it. I just DM'd it to Sarah. I'm just kidding, Sarah. Hey, Sarah, this is for that post.
So, and here's the other
just kidding,
thing.
Sarah. That was awkward.
So basically, Doc is steroid shaming you, right?
Yes.
Which is a pharmaceutical. Just to point that out.
Shouldn't we be high-fiving over that?
But I would argue that the reason why they don't like testosterone, or they don't like testosterone replacement therapy, is because it does avoid all sorts of other health issues. And
Mental.
I am going to say this. I'm going to say this for the first time in front of an audience. I'm going to be telling my main audience on my fitness channel. I just started TRT about a week ago, about a week and a half ago, and I was pissed. I literally sent Mark a text like, "I'm so fucking pissed at you," because he was like, "What now?" Because
I did say what now?
and I was like, "How you weren't screaming at me for?" Because my testosterone levels have been low. They've been like 300 ish, And I finally like bit the bullet. The only thing I'm upset about is that I didn't do it years ago, like fucking years ago. I am
That's a game
sleeping
changer.
better. I am fucking so much more energy. My mood is so much better. I mean, it is like in just a week and a half altered so many things that are in such a positive way. Now I'm going to be 54 years old here soon, right? So I'm a prime candidate for it. But I will argue that if you are a 300-pound, 25-year-old male, the doctor, before they put you on Ozempic, should be testing your testosterone levels, seeing if your testosterone levels are low, which they're going to be if you're a 300-pound,
100%.
25-year-old male. Then they should try that first, because going on testosterone will absolutely help that person lose weight, be more active, help them with repair. It'll help them with their metabolism. It will help with fat loss. And all they got to do from there is lifestyle change. And trust me, they're going to have enough energy where they're going to want to go to the gym. They're going to want to do other stuff. So that's where I find it kind of messed up, right? And that I've always been, I mean, you know me, I've always been an advocate of TRT. I just never tried it myself, right? And I've always been an advocate of it, but now that I have a different perspective on it, a huge portion of the male population should all get tested for their T levels, and if they have T levels below 400,
Yep.
should be considered some type of testosterone replacement therapy, because that is, to me, that is where it leads down the pipe of other illnesses, because they just keep getting more depressed because they're basically estrogenic women at that point in time.
Yeah.
They keep getting fatter because they're depressed and they're already fat, and they feel like shit, and it just is this tumbling effect. So it's wild how they will demonize pharmaceuticals that can actually help avoid or cure shit, but they want you on that. They want you like the thing they want you on forever. Like, not only that, but TRT, but testosterone replacement therapy is cheap as fuck too. By the way,
So cheap. It's like
it's so
for a
fucking
good
cheap.
for a good pharma you're less than you're not 150 200 a month, if not
Yeah,
less. I mean, it
yeah,
depends on the clinic and what they put with it. Like a lot of doctors like to put like an HCG or gonadotropin with it to keep your testes functioning. Like, it shrinks your balls. No, actually not if you do it right.
yeah,
Um, I think that, and some people do need it. Fat people will probably need it. I don't, because I'm
yeah,
so lean, but a lot of
yeah,
people need an aromatase inhibitor with it,
yeah,
because if your estrogen is already high by being obese, you're going
yeah,
to probably need an astrazole, a
yeah,
milligram twice a week,
yeah,
because you need to keep your estrogen down because you're already estrogenic, and
yeah,
testosterone isn't going to lower your estrogen. It's actually going to raise it
yeah.
because there's a concurrent increase in estrogen. So I think
Right,
I think the reason is, well, look at what Ozempic does. It makes you weak
right,
and frail.
right.
It eats up muscle. It makes your heart weak. Whereas we know
Yeah,
now that testosterone replacement therapy, if you go from low testosterone to normal high with TRT, your heart's in better shape than if you were to keep your testosterone low. So they want things that make you weak. They want things that lead to other things. And then you give them Ozempic. Oh, I'm on Ozempic, and Ozempic does increase depression, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, now
yeah,
you need mood enhancements, right? Now you need that. Oh, well, also you might need something else it's whack-a-mole. Once they get you on
yeah,
one, they get you on another and another and another and another and another. Whereas with testosterone, you're going to look, I've known people who've gone on it for depression, and it has changed their life. In fact, the guy who who used to work with me
yeah.
about a couple of years ago, he went on it for depression, and it cured his depression.
Wow.
Because remember, testosterone, all these hormones they're interlinked. They correlate with each other, right? They work together. They're synergistic, from serotonin, melatonin, all the onins and testosterone. Those all work together. It's just fascinating how I'm on the one pharmaceutical that doctors hate. It's absolutely profound, isn't it? And this guy's supposed to be a doc who lifts,
So
but he's
if
not
you look
very
at
swole.
Wegovy, I'm on Wegovy's website right now. It says not to take it if you've ever had any issues with thyroid cancer. And you pointed out something pretty interesting earlier, right? You were talking about dosage. Well, the lower dosage that they use for diabetics, by the way, the lower dosage of semaglutide has a black box warning on it. It's higher dosages for Wegovy and Ozempic, which is wild. So it already has a black box warning, which by the way is the gravest warning that the FDA will give. But before using Wegovy, tell your provider if you have had any other medical conditions, including ever had problems with your kidneys or pancreas, type 2 diabetes, or history of diabetic retinopathy, because it makes people go blind, by the way. That's one of the latest
What?
ones. Making people go blind. Yes.
That's
If
fantastic.
you
That's
have
so
if
worth
you
it.
have depression, suicidal thoughts, or mental health issues, find me a 300-pound person that does not have depression, suicidal thoughts, or mental health issues. Find one. Any. I'll wait. A non-football player, and even then, I would bet you money that they have some sort of depression too for how big they are. Find me a
Yeah.
person that size that doesn't ride a roller coaster of emotion, right?
Yeah.
It is known to increase. It's under investigation in like multiple countries for increasing suicidal ideation. Are scheduled to have any surgeries, are pregnant or plan to become pregnant. You know how many women lose weight to get pregnant? I mean, I've coached probably 300 women in the course of my lifetime that have only wanted to lose weight to get pregnant. You know?
Really?
Yeah, yeah. Because when they reach a certain weight, uh, the pregnancies don't stick. It seems like they go through a lot of miscarriages when they get to a certain weight.
Wow.
Um, yeah, I mean, yeah, being fat's bad for you. It's a huge shock. But like it can cause inflammation of the pancreas, bladder problems, gallbladder problems, gallbladder problems. Almost everybody I know that's taken Wegovy has had to have their gallbladder taken out. So if you're taking it, be ready.
What?
Yeah, increased risk of low blood sugar, hypoglycemia, especially if you're on other diabetic medications. Which almost every diabetic I know is on both metformin and they're on metformin at least, and then insulin comes along, right? Kidney problems because you can go into kidney failure, serious allergic reactions, change in vision. One more time, increased heart rate. Wegovy can increase your heart rate while you are at rest. If you're 400 pounds, that's very bad.
And combine that with atrophy of the heart.
Combine that with atrophy of the heart.
Fantastic.
These drugs have no. I asked them too. I was like, show me the 10-year testing. Show me the 10-year safety data. You're saying that people need to be on this forever. So I asked the doc, where's your data to show that people can be on this dose for 10 fucking years and not die? And they don't have it because one more time, we have convinced Americans that they should be the experiment somehow. It's so fucked up. Instead of just eating beef, eggs, some fucking vegetables, and going for a jog and fucking having sex and making sure that you're happy and shit like that, like everybody's like, where do I stick the needle in? Speaking of somebody who started sticking a needle in themselves. Like, what the fuck?
And I'm the guy who used to be called the pincushion. Look at you now, guys. Ha! I mean, right? But he's too busy asking about my, and then I ask him, I'm like, well, did you, just as if somebody's going to debate me on taking scientifically backed supplements or prescriptions, I'm going to ask you if you took the shot.
Yeah.
Because that tells me right there how genuine you are and how smart you are. I'm sorry. Like you say, 2020 was the greatest IQ test in the history of the country.
It really was.
Too many people failed for my liking. Now, a lot of people regret it. This guy doesn't seem to regret it. He's one of those whole ride or die with Big Pharma. And I'll say it straight up. Like, I thought he was, based on his pose, I thought he was a decent guy. I saw his Elite FTS. I watched a couple minutes of it. Seems like a good enough guy, but just seems like a little bitch right now. I mean, I'm just being honest. Like, I'm not a fan of how, okay, I'm losing this. He's like, oh no, I'm making, and then he like, what do you say? We're pigeons or some shit.
Yeah.
Like, it was like debating pigeon. I'm like, dude, by all accounts of this debate, you are losing. Like, you lost. Like, when we showed data, it wasn't enough. I have RCTs. Okay, show the RCTs. You're not showing the RCTs. We're showing them, but they're not good enough. The weight loss wasn't good enough. And I'm like, well, no, that's our supplements. We're not claiming our supplements cause something. We're saying our supplements supplement a
Yeah.
healthy diet and training. It makes it easier, better for your body to process nutrients. It makes your body healthier. It makes your body less likely to binge. It makes your body less likely to be stressed. It helps. It supplements. I don't want a cure. I want a supplement. So when I come off of that supplement, I'm not reliant on it, and I can go back to just eating healthy and the lifestyle changes that we made. That's what supplements do. But again, there's supplements you can take forever. Alchemy, I can never see a reason to not take NC2 and berberine. Talk about a product with a lot of human data. Look at NC2, so much human data. What about Chromax? Nobody answered Jose. Jose's like, well, that's a very fucked up. He said that is a very crazy statement. And Jose has, by the way, more education than this guy. More education. And Jose, by the way, he's not just a doctor, he is a professor. He spends every day of his life teaching people what he knows. He's been a professor at multiple universities. He's the CEO of a journal. He's the CEO of a journal. So, okay, don't listen to us. Listen to Jose.
Right. So I've done it before, and I'm probably going to do it again too. But NC2 is one of the active ingredients in alchemy. Okay. Our glucose disposal agent. NC2 is a seaweed extract made up in Canada. It's a very clean process and rejuvenative grow, so it's like they're never going to run out. They do a great job. In human testing, it is lowered triglycerides, evened out the ratio of HDL to LDL. It has reduced body weight, helped with it has increased insulin sensitivity. It has reversed prediabetes and reversed type 2 diabetes in human trials. So when people say like, "Oh, you're selling snake oil," I know that the world's not set up like this because they're never going to want to show that supplements can compete with drugs, because then they actually have to make drugs that work, that don't kill people, that don't cause other illness. Because I've had a few people get upset by their stomach get upset from the gel caps. That's literally the extent of our side effects, right? But it's wild to me that he immediately went to it. He didn't investigate the supplement ingredients. I found it hilarious, by the way, that I was like, "So you're saying berberine doesn't work?" He was like, "Well, just so you know, I actually started up selling berberine, so it works then." Like, he's basically just fucking lying, right?
Yeah. But so the thing is, like, again, directed at exact weight loss. Yeah, we do have a couple supplements that do that, but it's also it's a formula, right? Like, this is NC2, Ascophyllum nodosum, okay, Ficus vesiculosus, and chromium picolinate. Okay, that's NC2. Can help. What does that say? I'm not allowed to say that because it's a claim. Can help to treat type 2 diabetic patients. Yeah. And that looks like an RCT to me, Alan. I don't know, but it looks pretty RCT'd out. 175 Caucasian patients. So doesn't work with black people. That's fine. Just kidding. To take nutraceutical combination or placebo. Isn't that a double blind? That would be double blind.
Double blind.
Yeah, that'd be double blind. 164 cases. So most people completed it. And they had all this results. Obviously, you're reading that. In conclusion, let's just go to that. That's the easiest one. A nutraceutical combination of polyphenolic composition and chromium picolinate, in addition to previously taken anti-diabetic therapy, can be helpful in reducing glycated hemoglobin in patients with type 2 diabetes mellitus. So what that means is basically what it says. It helps control blood sugar and control diabetic symptoms. So that's just one ingredient. That's one study on the ingredients. I just pulled out my notes on that. There's a lot more studies on that ingredient. There's a lot more studies on that, but we're not going to waste your time just, citing studies. I could do that all day with you guys. But the crazy thing is we have the data, but what we don't have are the side effect data. And also you talk about safety. Where's the safety studies? Well, it is certified non-GMO, it's organic, and it has GRAS status, generally recognized as safe. Okay, that is GRAS status is what you're looking for in taking supplements. For example, vitamin C is GRAS, right? It's GRAS, whereas something like 1,3-dimethyl, right? That's not grass. So you got to really be cautious in taking it. But when you have that grass status, which we have, then you have that safety profile. So that's what you have to look at when evaluating these substances. So we can nerd out all day, or I could just yell and say, I have a doctorate and you don't. The thing is, these doctors, they're so pompous, they're so narcissistic, they're so elitist. And when I in one sentence say, no, hold on, I'm right, and here's why, people are like, why are you always bragging? I'm like, I'm not allowed to put up my credentials against this guy.
Yeah, like really,
it's absurd, kind of wild, dude. I mean,
like,
it's crazy.
Just because, I offered to debate him. Like, bring your data, I'll bring my data. We can do it.
That debate ain't happening. It's pointless, dude. Like, he's not going to do it. He put till January 6th. Well, my kids, I'm like, motherfucker, we have kids. I put something snippy though. I said, I have kids too, but my kids don't have the shot. So you probably won't let your kids play with my kids. I had to throw that jab at him. No pun intended.
It was a wild day. I'm driving. I'm like, God damn, like fucking, and what I found to be wildly funny is that, like, he knows he deep down, he knows he lost. His people could not keep up. And relatively speaking, all I was saying, like, he looks like a drug dealer. Like, you talked only about drugs, no lifestyle. That is what we expect. That is why nobody trusts the healthcare industry anymore. It's because that is your answer for fucking everything. And it cannot be that way. It used to be 30 years ago, if you were on a pharmaceutical, it needed to be a last-ditch effort. I think that's why I waited so long to try TRT. Because, like, it needs to be a last-ditch effort.
That mindset, yeah.
Yeah. And, I mean, now it's like, this is the first thing. Like, we're preemptively putting people on statins. We're preemptively putting people on all sorts of shit. It's just, that is not a healthy concept to me.
Let's preemptively put them on testosterone.
Yeah, no shit. But that's what I was saying.
I'm pro TRT.
Yeah, well, he obviously is not pro TRT, which is wild, but that would help a lot of men. Like, me and you were talking about it just the other day. Like, I think that a huge portion of men in society would do very much. I said this before I went on it. So,
we'd have no more Democrats, dude. Democrats would cease to exist.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of Democrats, dude, I know we've had fun with Nadolski, and in consideration of your time, I know you're with family now, but I thought I'd bring this up. This is fantastic. This is something I know you'd get a kick out of. I just saw this today. So it apparently, California, Prop 36 means that shoplifting is a felony. Have you seen this video?
No.
Oh, it's fascinating. So they're going in, and
you keep saying you got something for me. Something you call love, but confess.
So they're pulling up. Back in the day, that was all good, right?
Right.
Like, you could shoplift, the cops aren't even gonna get you. But the California voters were like, nah, we're done with this. And even Gavin Newsom's like, I'm gonna lose if I keep on this platform. Like, Democrats will change if you demand shit, and he's doing it. So here goes.
Been a messin' where you shouldn't have been a messin'.
So I believe the cops are.
Someone else is getting
oh shoot, they're somewhere else now. Where are they? Where is that? Is that Macy's? So they're racking up more.
Just what they'll do.
They're dressed really nice. Like, that's not cheap clothes.
No.
Like, and that hairstyle, that costs a lot to get that hair done like that. It just does. Like, they're not poor. I mean, they might be, but they're just doing it because they can.
One of these days, these boots.
Look at the boots with the fur. The whole club, Alan was looking at her.
Are gonna walk all over you.
I see now why they got that song.
Yeah.
So they're still stealing shit. Holy man, this stuff racks up. It is California.
They're just casually just walking right out.
I'm not gonna lie, she's got a good butt.
I know. I knew you were gonna.
I'm sorry, dude. It's the testosterone replacement. I mean, that's.
I knew you were gonna.
I'm not a hater.
No,
I call things like I see them. Okay, I'm gonna get off that part of the video now.
Keep lying when you ought to be truthing.
Hilarious.
They're just out there. They're just out there on a little crime spree, bro.
So unbothered. Like, they're just like chill.
Keep saying
Are they still
when
doing
you
it?
oughta be a changin'.
Okay, here goes the cops.
Now what's right is right, but you ain't been right yet.
Poof.
These boots are made for
Oh, damn.
walking.
Bro, that cop, he took that shit personal.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did.
That was like a Ray Lewis body cam.
That is hilarious.
Wait, wait till you hear their conversation in the car.
One of these days, these boots are gonna walk all over you.
That's a felony? Bitch, new laws.
That's like you and I talking, dude. Bitch, new laws. This is us as
Literally how
female
much I
criminals.
talk to each other.
This is us as female criminals.
Yes.
I'd be like, Alan, that's a felony? You'd be like, bitch, new laws.
Exactly.
Oh my God.
Stealing is a felony.
I like how they like have to like come to this like I guess
Yes,
stealing's a
it's
felony.
They don't play. That's why I asked for counting this. That's where I went to jail last year and got on probation for a year for stealing out of Target.
Found me a brand new box of
Oh,
matches.
I guess it's Seal Beach.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh my goodness, that was so good.
That is
Hey.
awesome.
You know how you end crime? You punish it. Like,
Yeah.
should be pretty simple. Like, I was talking to Zuby on his podcast about this, man. Like, they don't have crime in Dubai.
No, because they don't accept it.
It's culturally unacceptable. And there was a video went viral of this guy. He's like, he ran into like the store and he left his Rolex and wallet on his car. And he's like, I'm gonna come back. It'll be here. And 30 minutes later, he came back. It's right there. Nobody stole it.
That's amazing.
Dubai's got it right, dude.
Yeah, dude.
Like
really
they
do.
just, I'm sorry, dude. Like you stop crime by punishing crime, and you can't have these catch and release. No, if you steal something, you go to jail. Now the crime, but it's a weird justice system where you could literally be wandering around the Capitol, not knowing what's going on, and get 20 years in jail, or you could be like Enrique, whatever his last name is, Tario from the Proud Boys. He wasn't even at the Capitol yet; he's in jail for 20 years.
Yeah, wow.
We have a very corrupt country that I hope we fix.
Yes, me too.
And
me too.
one of the reasons it's corrupt is because of big pharma. Not for this issue, obviously. I'm not blaming crime on big pharma.
No.
But I will say that wearing face coverings in public isn't helping the matter.
No, not at all. It's because it enables crime.
You and I said that we're the first ones to say it. We should ban masks in public.
It's a safety concern. Fuck that shit.
Yes. I mean, who thought it wouldn't be a safety concern? When you go, does anybody like, okay, here's the wild thing. I remember telling this to my mother-in-law when I visited in like 21. I'm like, okay, check it out. Because I took her to the bank or some shit like that. Like she doesn't get out much, right? She's older. And I'm like, dude, in 2019, I would get arrested if I walked into the bank with a mask on. Now I'd get arrested if I walk into the bank without a mask on. Because it was like in 2021 in California.
Wow. Dude, that's crazy talk. That shit is nuts.
It is, dude. But anyway, I know you got stuff to get on with. You got family. I hope you have a great time. I think we're taking Christmas Eve. We're off. We'll probably come back Thursday.
Yeah.
So whatever works. Not everybody has stuff. What's up?
I'll be ready to go.
I mean, we celebrate Christmas, just in case anybody's wondering. We have a tree, we have presents, we have stockings and all that good stuff. Just so y'all know, like, I'm basically Christian. That's basically where I'm at. So I only keep the Jewish part for the jokes. Yeah. And I'm completely open about that. But if you're gonna tell me, do I, at this point in my life, I've done a lot of research, and I think I'm almost on the Jesus wagon, almost there. I have a little more searching to do. I know Alan's not, like, but when I roll with Jesus, I'll let you know.
But I'm the first one to say that a lot more people should roll with Jesus. A lot of people need Jesus.
At least you need to respect Jesus for his insane conditioning.
Yeah.
Dude was shredded.
Yeah, he was. Still like
His
fucking
his
Dawn, but son of God. So
he was the original Ziz.
yeah, we're getting canceled.
Oh my God, we're being canceled by everybody. All right, so we'll see you guys.
We'll see you guys
Merry
later. Hey,
Christmas.
Merry Christmas to everybody.
Yeah.
And I will.
Happy
I'll text you
Hanukkah. It's
later.
Friday, I think.
Oh yeah, Hanukkah Friday. I'll
When's
text you later,
Kwanzaa?
brother.
All right, dude. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
The Holy Trinity Bundle isn't just about weight loss, it's about empowering you to find your healthiest, happiest self. Let's talk about what's in the bundle and how it caters specifically to our needs. First, we got Ember, which is not just any fat burner. It's also going to boost your mood, your energy levels, while also suppressing your appetite. And if you're worried about it being too strong, you can split the tablet in half to tailor its impact. Next, we have Alchemy NCT, which turns the carbs that you eat into energy and not fat. Yes, energy, not fat. This is our way of making sure that the meals that you eat contribute positively to your weight loss journey. And girls, we all know that we want that. And finally, no morbidity. This one's my favorite because it works while you sleep. It burns fat and controls those nighttime cravings without any stimulants, so you wake up feeling refreshed. Try it out and feel the genuine difference. Here's to new beginnings and real results.